Hey y'all, it's another episode of Shootin' the Wheeze where we sit down and shoot the shit on things going on in life and the world of professional wrestling. I'm Wheezy Blonde. I am the host of Shootin' the Wheeze and I am the Wheeze that shoots the shit. Today, I brought on my friend Pika, PetitePikahh. She is a Twitch streamer. She is someone that works really closely with wrestlers in a convention setting. She has a knowledge of professional wrestling, and she deserves way more recognition and gratitude and exposure than she has, I think. She's also a streamer. She streams gaming. She's just a good person, and we kind of get into talking about how we met, and it is through wrestling, funny enough. So we kind of talk about that. We talk about our worlds colliding in the convention space. We talk about how we felt about Monday Night Raw debuting on Netflix, and just a lot of our experiences that we've had. And she honestly made me cry, or almost made me cry a couple times, just giving me praise for a lot of the things that I do. And I don't ever, expect or want anyone to do that, but it did make me feel good. So I hope you enjoy the episode of me talking with Pika. I want to give you a little bit of what I thought about Monday Night Raw, just on my own without Pika, but I kind of covered it with her pretty well. There were so many different opinions that I saw. And so I just honestly want to address a lot of the common things that I saw being said. And one of them was, the first thing that comes to mind is how there were only 4 matches on the entire card. Another one was how The Rock completely disregarded, being the final boss, and, he was embracing Cody, and how it felt like they were just dropping storylines. And so I understand a lot of those perspectives. Me and Pika do talk about it, but just myself, I want to tell you, you have to remember, not a lot of people have cable anymore. And Netflix debuting Raw the way that they did opened it up to a lot of casuals and lapsed fans being able to kind of tap back in and see what's going on. And it's much easier to lay the groundwork without having to recap why The Rock is doing what he's doing. I think that's super, super important. And also, for those of us that are, the diehards that watch every week, how sweet is it going to be to see The Rock fall right back into? Like, we're going to get a swerve of some kind. I know it. So I'm not overly concerned with that. I'll admit, if you go back and watch my stream or my clips, I was a little confused. I was waiting for the flip to switch. I'm like, okay, final boss, where are you? Like, Mama Rhodes, just in some kind of scathing final boss fashion. But I get why they didn't. Dwayne is the guy that's shaking hands and kissing babies, and that's how the general public knows him. Whereas we know when he returned, he was the final boss. I get it. He was a little scathing as the final boss, so it might turn some people off. I don't know. When it comes to the amount of matches that were on the show, I get what you're saying. I do. Here's the thing. In order for someone to be invested in a wrestling match, or at least a casual, okay, I understand that there's different groups of professional wrestling fans. Some people really could just watch matches and that be done. But imagine not being a fan, not being a wrestling fan, and you're just watching this match occur. You don't really understand what's happening or why it's happening. In order to be really invested as someone that doesn't know a damn thing about pro wrestling, you have to be invested in the story that's leading up to the match. Think of the saga of Stone Cold and The Rock and the back and forth that occurred there, and why anyone in their right mind would be interested in that match based on, number one versus number one. There's so much more to a wrestling match sometimes than meets the eye. And I know that the physicality and the spots and all that are really, really important to a lot of people. But for someone that's new and getting into it, it's maybe not quite as important as it would be to you. So remember that there are varying different levels of fans, and that very well could continue. I think it was very purposeful for them to be showing the people in the crowd that were there, all of the different celebrities and varying levels of their celebrity and why they were there. It definitely felt different. It felt relatable. It felt like they really were trying to grab the attention and maybe have people be willing to check out next week. because I think next week we're going to see a return to more of the Monday Night Raw that we're used to. It looks like we're going to be seeing Penta against Chad Gable in some way, which will be super cool for people to see. We'll get to see the fallout of everything that occurred last Monday, and then maybe some of the people that they can grab hold of to keep watching, we'll get to see those stories develop after the fact. You know, you had to have something for them to understand and follow moving forward, if that makes sense. Not having to backtrack however many years and figure out what's going on. I know that there were some other things that occurred. Me and Pika talk about it a little bit. I'm not going to talk about it now. You know, think of the boos, think of the crowd booing. We talk about it a little bit. It's not really my platform or my shtick to really hone in on those kinds of things. I will say I thought it was funny. The meme of the crowd booing with Hulk Hogan standing on the ramp, honestly, that was pretty great. I do like that. That was fun. But overall, the matches that were on the card, I liked. There's nothing that occurred that I feel like, oh no, I didn't like the ending of that. I love that Jey Uso kind of snuck one over on Drew McIntyre. Y'all know how I feel about Drew McIntyre. Drew screwed Drew. And once again, Drew let his guard down. Once again, you know, overconfident, not paying attention to what he should be paying attention to. And Jey Uso took advantage of it. And that's just the story arc of freaking Drew McIntyre at this point. That's just the way it's gonna go. Other things that I get into later on in the episode, I do talk about, I live in the United States, so the ads and how I felt about the ads. We talk about some of our favorite moments. We talk about how we feel about the Undertaker placement and where that happened. Yeah, let me know what you think, if you would like to see Pika on again, or if there's any other guests that you would like to see on and join me, please let me know. I'm in the hunt. Or if you, for some reason, are listening to this and you're cool, or you know you work in a company somewhere, or you're a wrestler yourself, I would love the perspective of someone that actually is a wrestler. So just hit up my email. Go find it in my link tree. I hope you enjoy the episode. I will have Q&A questions about the episode at the very end. Alrighty. So on this episode today, I brought a friend on. I brought a guest on. It's not just the solo pod. I said sometimes that I'd bring someone else on, and this felt like a good time to do it. So we have my friend, my pal, Pika. Say hello to the people, Pika.
Hi guys, how you doing?
I just realized are you wearing a Stone Cold shirt? Are you wearing a what shirt?
Yeah, okay, so
Stone Cold?
Yeah, we're matching. Mine's just like basic. It's not like to city, but yeah, I was gonna wear like a bunch of different things. Then once you said I'm wearing my Detroit 316, I was like, okay, fine, I will, mirror that.
They answered it for you. You're like, oh, okay, I'll just wear my what shirt.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh no. I'm only putting, you said yeah. I'm pointing out that is, do you know who Tama Tonga is?
No.
On WWE. So Tama Tonga is member of the Temu bloodline.
Yeah.
One that comes out and he's like, yeah. He sounds like Donnie from the Wild Thornberry. So I had to point it out when it happened. But
I have been known to talk really fast when I'm passionate when gaming. So I may have also been called like Donnie Thornberry.
Have you really?
Girl, yes. Okay. Like the ADHD just takes over. You already know. And so that really coincides right now.
I feel that.
It's fine. It's true to character. It's fine.
I don't know. Our chats and like our audiences kind of intersect, like they cross. So there's some people that watch like you that know me, and there's some people that watch me that know you. Like we kind of cross paths, but there are probably a lot of people that don't know like how we know each other or who the other is. So let's kind of recap how we actually even met, because we met. That's the funny thing about professional wrestling, or just the wrestling industry in general, is that you cross paths with people in the most random of ways. And ours is pretty kind of funny and random. So yeah. What's the year? What year was this? I
want to say 2023. Does that sound right?
Yeah. Mania 39.
How I remember is we met at Squared Circle in like a teeny like meeting room for like a meet and greet. And that's how we met.
Okay. So setting the stage, that is how we met. So how I ended up meeting you was you were at Mania 39 and I got a random Instagram message from my drunk friend that was on
Yes.
TikTok,
Oh my gosh.
Lana.
Yes. It's all flooding back now. Sorry. Yes.
I know you know because you've told me the story.
Yes. Sorry. Again, remind your goldfish friend, but yes.
That's okay. My memory is ass, and I tell everyone all the time, like, what do you mean you don't remember what happened at WrestleMania 40? I'm like, I don't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday. Let alone, like, I have to be reminded. So, P-Wayne, I get it. But no. So you were at WrestleMania.
Yep.
And I get this Instagram message from a friend of mine, and she just says, "Hey," she's drunk. I'm like, trying to decode it. And she says, "Hey, there's the name of this person. Here's her Instagram link. She's going to the convention that you're going to."
Yes.
It was literally the next week, I believe.
I believe so. It wasn't and then too long after.
Yeah, or 2 weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
And so she said, "Meet up with this person. She's really cool." I said, "Oh, okay, cool." And I did message you, and I messaged you when I got to Squared Circle, and that is how we had met for the first time. So it's all thanks to the connection of someone on TikTok, my drunk Irish friend, Lana. God love Lana.
So I in her, like, I'm going to say mild defense because I'm sure she's not offended in the slightest with that description. So I love that you said the stage. I'm going to set it even more. So, gosh, I'm trying to remember like what night of events it was, but I didn't go to a certain event. It was late. I had been working. It was, I think, almost like midnight, 1:00. And I was like, I just want a sweet treat. I'm going to run downstairs to the bar. I'm going to get some sort of dessert and like some wine or something, and then head back up to my room. And I had gone down, and I just felt like someone come up to me, and respectfully, as a woman, sometimes when someone comes up to you, you're like, who the fuck is that? But then this lovely, friendly face, being Lana, who I didn't know at the time, just comes up and is like, "Are you drinking alone? Like, what are you doing alone?" And I was like, oh my God, that's so sweet for her to like just even check, like, are you okay? Do you need company? Her doing that like just meant the world, even like outside of the wrestling world. But anyway, so we just got to talking about wrestling. Obviously, she's a huge fan. And we did some shots, and that's how we became friends. And then that's when she was like, "Oh my God, like you would love my friend. She's going to be at Squared Circle, blah, blah, blah." And then the rest is history with Lana. And then, I guess I just have to thank her profusely for introducing, you to me. I'm so thankful.
No kidding. Cause I mean, we just ended up being in the same places so many times from there on out, like not even intentionally, just the way that things happened. Because we met so again, setting the stage of how you ended up being at the convention is you work at conventions. Like I
do.
Explain what it is you do.
I mean, gosh, so many different companies and agencies like have different names for it. Some people say a handler, some people say like a liaison. The best way I can describe it to people is obviously there's Comic-Cons, there's wrestling conventions, there's store signings, there's appearances, like, so you can meet your favorite, in this instance, wrestlers or actors or voice actors or sports athletes, stuff like that. But I basically am the link between the show, so like the convention or the like convention staff, and the talent. So I was there with a little bit of the talent from the agency, and that is how I end up at a lot of conventions, at a lot of wrestling conventions and wrestling events. That is how I ended up at Squared Circle, and was able to come find you. So
I'm remembering the meeting room now. I'm remembering what it was. I remember now. We were walking past the room, and I was with 3 of my other friends from TikTok. I drove down there by myself. Yep. Because I had a pass, to be press. And it was my first time as a content creator also at a convention, which was mildly, you look back and it was like, I can't believe I did that. Wow, I really didn't know anything or anyone. And now I'm much more seasoned. But we're walking past this room, and it was MJF's line. And he didn't have a line. And because when we had first got there, it was so long. So because there was no line, we were like, well, screw it, we'll hop in. And that was the room that you happened to be in.
Yes.
So
yes, 100%.
Get verbally harassed, and then there was you.
Yeah. I remember so vividly now you coming into the room, and I felt so weird because I'm like staring at you. I'm like, that is her, right? The whole time. And then I remember going up to you to essentially like take your order of like what you want. And I was like, no. And I remember asking like, I'm like, are you? And you even were like, are you? And it was too funny.
The moment of like,
yes, found you. Hey, hi. Oh my gosh. Yep. Done. So thanks Thanks, Max, for that.
Yeah, thanks, Max.
I remember there was another wrestling event and then you weren't able to go. Was it Mania? I think it was like the next Mania. I think it was the
next Mania, because I remember you guys all took a picture together. It was you, Lana, Alex, yes. Queen of the Ring, and maybe Kimmy. And somebody drew me in like
me.
The cartoon, and they put me in there. Because I had such FOMO, because I was supposed to be there, and then the company ripped it out from underneath me and just said, never mind, we're canceling the event that I was supposed to MC, that I was supposed to. But
right. How are we all here? And Wheezy's not here. Something is not right. So I was like, okay, she's here. Like,
I'm the wrestling streamer. I'm the one that watches from home. It's my job. I'm not everyone else. Not everyone else,
but you're so dedicated. And so as much as we missed you, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I'm sure that we all understood. I understood that, like, you know, you are so committed to the job that as much fun as it is to be at the conventions, at the show itself, you are so focused on giving it to your community. And I know that they appreciate that, because not literally everyone and their mom can show up to the actual event.
C2E2, that was a convention, you know, that one.
Yes. Where you look stunning as Chelsea Green cosplay. God.
That was my first cosplay at a convention. Both of my friends have been doing it for years, and I tagged along with them just because the experience, and there were wrestlers there, and there was a wrestling panel and like a cosplay group. So I figured, all right.
I love it. I love that. It, like, first of all, I never would have known that was your first cosplay. You looked absolutely fantastic. I know Chelsea appreciated it. I know, like, everyone around you appreciated it. There was a wrestling cosplay meetup that's like unheard of, like 10 years ago. You know, like there's always the Spider-Mans, now the anime ones. To see that, I was like, that's pretty dope.
It's very Chicago. It's very, very Chicago. There's such a large wrestling presence there that it doesn't surprise me that there's a whole group for it. But I was surprised not only at the amount of wrestling cosplays that there were, but also the amount of people that knew who, as Chelsea Green, that knew who I was. Because I'd just be walking and I'd hear a Chelsea Green.
Mm-hmm.
God dang, like the amount of people that were like, I love the Chelsea Green. Like, I love the Chelsea Green. So Chelsea.
Have you ever been mistaken for a wrestler at all?
Not for a wrestler by name, not a specific wrestler, but I have been mistaken for, and it's usually actually other wrestlers that think I'm a wrestler. And
I could see that. Yeah.
Every once in a while, it's someone that's at a convention that maybe doesn't know what I do online, but a lot of wrestlers think I'm a wrestler, and for various different reasons. And I have to be like, actually,
yeah, I have gotten a time or two, and it is the absolute best compliment I've ever gotten. That I, maybe in certain makeup, I resemble Rhea. However, yeah, girl, when someone told me that, I was like, oh my God, I owe you my firstborn. Like, thank you for that compliment. Hello.
Absolutely.
But I this is how I knew Alex, so Queen of the Ring, before even meeting her. So it's just so funny, like the chain events, like meeting. So someone came up to me, my first squared circle, and was like, are you Queen of the Ring? And I was like, no. And they're like, are you sure? And I was like, what the? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And then I look her up and I was like, oh my God, like, look at her content. She's stunning. This is amazing. And then instant followed her. And then I believe I met her with Lana at that Mania. And that's how I met Alex and was like, hey, just so you know, like, I've been mistaken for you. And that's pretty great. I love your content. So that's how Alex and I became friends.
The girlies in the wrestling space, you're so few that you're all connected in some way. It's so wild how that ends up happening. I think it's funny because it was the best. It's a small pool of us. I love Alex too. I got to meet her at SummerSlam Cleveland this year. That was the first time I got to meet her in person. But again,
I would have never known that.
Being women in this space, there's not a lot of us to talk to each other about the things that we deal with. So you get to talk to one and you're like, listen to this shit. Listen to what happened here.
Can we, on that topic, like, just slightly segue into the education of self-tanner?
God damn it.
Listen, you guys. All right, here we go.
Okay.
So I will, it's not just about me profusely defending my wonderful friend here, but I get it. Some people are not used to seeing us without makeup or with, different hairstyle. Or, if Wheezy just wasn't blonde one day, I know that would freak people out. Or if I just didn't have blue hair one day, I get it. I totally get that. However, we're going to take this to educate you guys in self-tanner, because the amount of interaction that was given over how upset people were over your self-tanner is just mind-blowing to me. But that's okay. I get it. You know, we're gonna forgive the ignorance and take this moment to educate.
What was it? It was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago on a SmackDown.
Yes.
I get spray tans. All right. I am the whitest bit of white girl you've ever met in your life. I am not only just white, my skin is just white. Okay. I look dead. So I like to get spray tans because I don't want to. I am past the tanning bed phase. Like, I don't want to do that. I get spray tans, and I don't
want skin cancer. You know,
in a good in between. I love the girl that I go to. I went on stream with my spray tan still developing because it was a last minute thing. It was the only day and time that they had. So I got the spray tan about 5 o'clock in the evening. All right.
Yep.
6 hours of development. And it just continues to get darker and darker. And it's not what the end product is going to look like. It's just all of the different chemicals that are on you. And that there's some little bit of green that's combating with it being orange. And so it can look a little red. And I also have crazy lighting around me that's really accentuating it, where normally it wouldn't look like that in person. And I don't know who raised y'all. I don't know who raised y'all. But let me educate you. All right. If you ever want a significant other, let me tell you something. You don't ever ask if they're sick. You don't ever ask what's wrong with you or anything. Like, who raised you? You clearly are single, and you're single for a reason, because that doesn't work. That doesn't fly. I could not. And it's not the first time that that's happened. And
I know
I get a little sensitive.
Yes, you don't deserve it. And like you said it earlier too. We talked very briefly before this that yes, it's easy to like pay no mind to it. However, I mean, you're human, dude. You're human. Comments sometimes hurt, and your job is to interact with the public, to interact with fellow wrestling fans. But to get some shit over a spray tan, I think is a little crazy. So with that said, for those who don't know how a spray tan works, Wheezy just said it best. You get the tan, it changes colors throughout the time that you get the tan. And then, you shower eventually after it's set in, and then it's a wonderful, amazing, glow on the skin. And your favorite wrestlers go through the same damn thing. They just thankfully, there's stage lighting, there's makeup, there's people that I'm sure that are like, holy shit, your tan looks crazy, let's fix it up, that kind of thing. They can
afford to have a rapid that probably happens in an hour or two. Done. I live in the Midwest and I make streamer money. I pay for the long development one, okay?
Yes. So stop giving Wheezy some shit over a spray tan or no makeup or texture on the face, because she's stunning and wonderful. And at the end of the day, she's just here for you guys. And so I just had to take that moment as her friend.
There's still other random instances that people bring shit up. And I just want to be like, would you ask so-and-so this? Like any of like the male streamers?
No.
Like, would you
respectfully, no.
No, you notice a little bit of difference in what I look like. And it's just
I'm waiting for someone to be like, and Pika's fucking with her bangs. Like, you guys just care about what you look like. And it's like, yes, we have to not fucking have comments of like, oh my God, why is her hair fucked up?
As much as I'll complain about the internet and I'll complain about the audience on the internet, because they can suck sometimes, you still have more good people than not that I get to actually talk to about wrestling and enjoy wrestling. And on that note, I guess I can ask, I mean, what's your fandom of professional wrestling? Were you a fan of wrestling before you started working, with wrestlers at conventions?
Yeah. So I think we've talked about it briefly, but we've definitely talked about it. Midwest dads like showing their kids wrestling. And so my dad introduced it to me when I was very young. And it was pretty great. It was definitely the time of Attitude Era, kind of late, timing, but I was able to see Eddie Guerrero and like John Cena when he first came in. And of course, I'm emphasizing that if you can't tell who one of my favorites is. We'll definitely get there. Yes, girl. Especially like this year, it's a very, listen, if you're listening to this, just say a little prayer, give me some good vibes, because it is going to be a very rough year for me specifically. However, just saw when John came onto the scene, was able to watch like Trish Stratus and Lita and Ray when he came to the scene, and just so many other legends. And I feel like it was a lot of people. I saw some WWF stuff, I saw some WCW stuff, but more so like that is when I was introduced to it by my dad. And I couldn't have picked a better time, because to me it was like what Marvel is for some kids now. Like I'm a huge Marvel fan too. When like the MCU really started, like that back then was like my MCU. Watching Raw, watching SmackDown, watching pay-per-views, ordering pizza, and just like screaming at the TV, that kind of thing. Like that is like a big part actually of my childhood. And I didn't, I feel like some wrestling fans have like that little break. I feel like a lot of people's story is I watched it when I was younger and then kind of fell off. And then like a little bit post-COVID, or I guess intermittently with COVID, I got back into it right before I got hired to work conventions. And it's very surreal. It's a very surreal experience. Grow up with it, have that break, get back into it, and then kind of like work so closely in the world of it, like not just be a fan of it. So it's been a really, really, really fun ride. I'm really grateful for it. But yeah, that is how I became a fan.
No, same way. And absolutely, Midwestern dad. We and you have talked before, but I still get asked a lot because it's a constant rotation of people coming in that don't know anything about me. And so, yes, everyone wants to know, well, when did you start watching wrestling? And same thing. I was a kid. My dad, I was probably 7-ish. The Stone Cold hadn't quite become champion yet. It was right before. And then, right through the Attitude Era, my favorites were Team Extreme, the Hardy Boys. I loved the tag division at that time were my favorites. Going into the early 2000s, Stone Cold, Rock. Really
Batista, Randy Orton.
Yep. And then less and less as I got further into middle school, and I was completely done by about 2007. And I would check in here and there, here and there, I'd check in, like when Edge had to retire, and a few things. I remember when the Punk pipe bomb happened, and I really didn't know much about CM Punk because I wasn't watching, but it was still something that was, everywhere. So that is my thing with wrestling. And I got back into it honestly, just because it was 2016, 2015. Seth Rollins had turned on the Shield. I was home
I remember
alone.
that.
My husband was working nights. He would leave for work at 7:30 and the show started at 8. I'm like, well, I guess I'm watching wrestling. And that's just kind of how it transpired. And there was people will ask sometimes, they'll be like, what was the match that got you into pro wrestling? And there isn't one. There isn't like a specific match that I ever watched that was, this is the thing that I like. It was just the wrestling as a whole, just the pageantry. There's that one comedian.
Yes.
The pageantry. Yes. Like the musical theater kid in me just was, this is cool.
Oh my God. Goofy. I love that so hard.
It's athletic at the same time. It's everything that I like.
I love that you relate it to musical theater because I'm a huge musical theater fan. I'm always like, oh my God. I like
too. Like,
yes. I love the theatrics of it all. Like it's very like intense, aggressive, story focused Glee. Like,
yes,
I absolutely love that so hard.
Two different kinds of wrestling fans I've noticed in working online and seeing the perception of it. There are the us that appreciate the art of it and roll with it and like certain things, dislike other things, but for the most part, just love all of it as a package deal. And then there's the real analytical crowd that loves and only wants to focus on the physicality part of it, the cleanness of moves, the way that they sell, the booking, stuff like that, where they really want to focus on the analytical part. And I'm, here I'm just along for the ride. Like, show me what you can do. Show me what's exciting. Show me what's not. That's how what I want to be into. I don't care. Okay, they missed that super. I don't care. I don't care that the super kick didn't connect the way that it should have. I don't give a shit. Like whatever. Yes. It's fine.
I definitely will notice, and only because to your point, like there's definitely that two sides of it where like if something's gonna end up on Botchamania, that kind of thing. I get that thinking of it because there is athleticism to it. It's still seen as a sport, even like past the theatrics of it all. So I do get it. But I definitely am not fully that. I don't think I'm even remotely that. Like definitely to your point, there is the people that like the analytical side. That's cool. That's fine and dandy. But at the end of the day, like the creative side is what matters. Like the creative side is what I think is the heart and soul of all of it, of just whether it's storylines, whether it's a gimmick, whether it's who is being booked right now, who, you know, is who has a championship right now. I mean, you get it. So I understand it. However, I really hope that people on that side of things, on the analytical side of things, really appreciate the creative side of it too.
I know that you watched the first Monday Night Raw on Netflix. What do you think? Because you don't watch like weekly or anything like that, do you?
I try to,
Okay.
But I made it a point to watch this week just for the importance of it all, just because of like the tone that was set, of course. To me, it was like a pay-per-view, you know, and I feel like a lot of people felt that way. I had a travel day from hell, but I had just made it like home, like as the show started. More so like historical of like holy hell, like they're not on cable anymore.
Yeah, who the hell has cable anymore? Not a lot of people have cable. I pay for YouTube TV in order to watch USA Network. And it's pretty much all I use it for, minus now football. But yeah, I was in the middle of streaming. Again, I live stream every Raw and SmackDown. So I'm in the middle of my stream and I have my phone sitting right next to me. And all of a sudden I just get 2 texts from you and you. And I'm in the middle of stream and I'm dying.
I figured you were, but I didn't think you were going to read them.
Yeah, I did. Oh, I totally did.
Okay,
I was like,
okay.
Oh, Pika, she's crying. She's just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
What? Tell me about that. About what was making you cry?
Just, the theatrics, the production. No, I mean, yes, of course. Right. But if anyone doesn't know, I think most people know, especially if like you watch me stream on Twitch or like just follow me on social media. I am a huge fan of John Cena. Man, like I said earlier, like I feel like I came at a really great time, was able to see lots of great wrestlers, but for some reason, I was really captivated by John. And knowing that this is his farewell like year it goes back to like the Marvel effect. To me, it's like growing up with like a superhero, and like your superhero is hanging up the cape, or the wristbands or the jorts or whatever you want to say, I know a lot of people, oh my God, I'm like shaking, dude. It's so funny because it's like, there's so many facets to us, like with fandoms. Like I'm a huge gamer. I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan. With John, it's again, I grew up with him, and very weird to see that this is the end. I know that he is well accomplished acting and doing other things, and he's so charitable, really motivational online. And like, there's a lot of facets to him too. All good things come to an end. But I think the last time I went through this was seeing Trish's last match. And obviously she would come back and stuff like that. Him and her, like definitely the people that raised me in the wrestling world. Seeing him come out and like also being emotional at the beginning of the end. But it's still really cool to see the joy behind it all. This is going to be a very cool ride. It's going to be very exciting. It's going to be very passionate. And you can tell that there is going to be a lot of love in it. There's already a lot of love in it. As a fan, creative or not, like I'm like, this is going to be awesome. As sad as it's going to be.
Yeah,
so.
I know, because it's sad. John Cena is a lot of people's childhood. A lot of people, love John Cena, rightfully so. And well, back in the day, I was saying last night, it's so funny, not necessarily funny, but just so full circle to have him come out and just be appreciated in the way that he's being appreciated. And, the crowd just chanting.
Like, fair enough, dude.
Because think of how much he gave and how much he cared and really cares about the business and pro wrestling and the people around him. And to just be booed and have all the said about him. John Cena sucks, all that. And here he is, and people are actually being okay. Like, we gave you a hard time, John, but that it wasn't because you weren't good.
It's kind of like the Kurt effect.
Good.
Yeah. It's definitely like that. But I think, not to say that, Kurt isn't this also, but like, it's just, very public with John. I feel like it's very easy to like him as a human, you know, wanting to always strive for more, wanting to strive to be an actor, wanting to strive to be like the number one with Make-A-Wish, like striving, like all his social media is super positive or super funny. My God, that McDonald's ad campaign was so damn fast, girl. I was like, oh my God, I literally just saw you on Raw like 30 minutes ago. Like they were quick with this. Like they were like, we got his ass to do this. And I'm here for it. I want him. He is, to me, you know, there's many poster children of the WWE. But to me, he is the face, you know, like just someone that was able to, with an ever evolving company, still be true to his art. And he's definitely said it in interviews where, like, you know, there has been a lot of different, you know, creative avenues that they could have gone with for him. And whether it was just little changes here and there, like they didn't. And, you know, it's hard to do in that industry where, you know, there's baby faces, there's heels, there's, you know, different gimmicks here and there. But either way, you know, whatever was going on, like John was still John. And then you can still appreciate John outside of the WWE. So I think that's why I'm such a big fan. And that's why it's so emotional. So
I got more invested in John outside of the WWE, honestly, because of watching his interviews and seeing just the way that he conducted and spoke anywhere that he was. And I just have such a massive respect for the way that he treats other people, holds himself and others to a standard. Yeah. But also I love the way that he answers questions, because it's not a run of the mill. He doesn't just give you a generic answer, and he's not afraid to kind of swerve it if he doesn't like the wording. He's very genuine in that way, where he'll say, well, it's not so much that, especially if the question kind of insinuates something or makes an assumption and the assumption is not correct. He'll correct it and say, well, no, not really so much this. I look at it from this perspective. And he's just so great to every time I listen to him, I just want to run through drywall. I get so pumped up.
Yes.
I feel like I can do anything. I feel like I can do anything when I listen to him. And
especially in the latest year or two, like look at who is successful, but not just successful. Look at who is really giving influence. I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan. Look at Taylor Swift, look at Eras Tour, look at the success behind that, but not just, you know, monetary success, not just number success of how many people went. What is transpiring through those fan interactions? What is transpiring through that media, you know, like, or video games or streaming or whatever? What makes it past the business part of it all?
I am so glad that you just said that, because how did I forget? Not that I forgot, but how did I overlook bringing up the fact that you are a massive Taylor Swift fan? How did I?
You know, I feel like because we talk so much wrestling or we talk so much conventions. When you're a fan of something, like almost the facets of you that are a fan of like different things, like whether it's musical theater or whatever, like kind of gets lost in the sauce, especially like as a content creator or on social media. Yes. But yeah, I'm a massive Taylor Swift fan. I know that people say that Punk is like the Taylor Swift of wrestling, but for me, it's John, you know, that kind of thing. But like him too, you know, like there's many people it can apply to. There's many people that like really like harness that success, but like with the passion, like with the boundaries of like, hey, you're insinuating this, but it's really this. And I'm not telling you to be an ass. I'm telling you so you know. It's that education.
You know what's crazy that those kind of people have in common? Because I'm thinking about it when I'm thinking of John, or even if I'm thinking of Punk or Taylor. I can't come up with any more right off the top of my head. But people that have that kind of influence and they use it in the capacity that they do, they get a lot of shit. A lot.
Yeah, they do. If I could personally name one, I feel like they do it in such a positive tone. I really, really want to emphasize that. But Trish Stratus is one of those people. Trish is very much like John, very business oriented, like very for the business, but also understands every side of it. Every, like, whether it's creative, whether it's, you know, business, whether it's creating relevancy, whether it's just being on top of your game, but in such a positive light. And it's really hard, I'm sure, as a woman. I'm not trying to speak for her or anything like that, but I've seen her just work, and it is so
I was just going to say, not to interrupt you, but do you want to?
No, tell me.
Do you want to speak to maybe like how you do know that because you have worked with
Sure.
her personally. It's not just you observing her
Sure.
from the outside. You have worked with her.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I only say this because I have worked with many wrestlers and like a lot of them have that same tone. But I have worked more with Trish, and that's why I feel comfortable saying it. Like at conventions where even last year, she did this whole bad girl tour. And at the end of the day, it's meet and greets in different cities. That's cool. But to have this hold on, like, let's make it an event. Let's make it so passionate. Let's, really drive excitement behind it, because there should be, she is a GOAT. She is a hard worker. She is an icon. It's not just a matter of just showing up. It's not just a matter of, well, I'm Trish, come to me. Like, let's do this. It's no, like, I want you to be there. I'm excited for you to be there. She puts the work in to make everyone feel that excitement. She doesn't just expect it from people. And I feel like, whether it's the Taylors of the world, the John Cenas of the world, the Trishes of the world, I really do believe that is what makes IPs, what makes people, what makes whatever mainstream media, even if it's her as a person or John as a person or whatever, that's what makes it more successful, is you not just expecting people to show the hell up just because you're so-and-so, no matter what the so-and-so is. Or the IP.
Right. No, you're so right. Like, just thinking about that and those kinds of people. I say a lot that the WWE. So I talked a few weeks ago about how the WWE's fans, I think, are some of the most loyal in the world. And so are Taylor Swift fans. But I think of that Fanatics Fest, that convention that they did.
Sure.
Okay, WWE was the only one that sold out of their tickets because they're such a fan-oriented company and business, and they do things for the fans that a lot of other people and industries don't. And I'm obviously a sports fan. I'm a big NFL fan. The NFL does not care about their fans in a way that the WWE does.
They care about the Swifties now. They're selling Kelsey jerseys like mad right now. But anyway,
because because they're supporting their girl who's him, which, if you're going to support please support the Kelseys. Oh my God, that's fine. Like, I don't like
angels on this earth.
Well, it's fine. I get like, but there's so much to be said for that. And you look at John, who has given himself to the industry in a way and for the people. And Trish, clearly, like, the people that get it.
Yeah. And she gets
successful for that reason. Like, certain NFL stars, I don't know a lot personally, but just being there and expecting someone to show up. Okay, well, for what? I feel like we live in a day and age where just being a celebrity isn't really it anymore. We're not idolizing you just because you're famous or just because you do this. It's way more than like surface level anymore. Like, you got to show some of your humanity and that you're worth putting my time and money into, because it's hard out here. Like, I'm not just going to support anyone. Clearly, we have to be so careful.
A give and take of, you show up, you're my fan, thanks so much. Yeah. Oh, but you got to meet me. No, I'm so happy to be here to meet you. You're so happy to be here to meet me. And this is a wonderful experience. So happy we both came. Yeah. Whether for like whatever it is, conventions, like watching on TV, going to the event, like, it all coincides. It's all the same. But girl, you tell me, like, what did you think of Raw last night? Like, I want to hear everything that you think.
Oh my God, I have an entire laundry list, but let me think of, like, so when I got on Twitter today, and I was in the middle of getting my hair done, so I'm busy, but I'm reading, something about negativity or people that are complaining. And so I immediately want to jump in to see, okay, well, what did people not like the most? Because I usually don't have too many negative things to say until I see it on the internet. I clearly had a couple, but like nothing that was going to be super detrimental.
Can I interrupt and ask you, is it because you're grabbing the perceptions of those people? Is it because you don't find negativity when it's happening because you're kind of in the moment of it all, especially like when you're streaming? And then, like, after the fact on social media, like, are you grabbing those perceptions and reflecting on them? Mm-hmm. Like, how is that working?
I would say so. Cause I think in the moment when I'm watching, I'm not being hypercritical. I'm not trying to, I feel like a lot of people are trying to find things. And I think a lot of people also go into something with an expectation of how they think it should be or how things have always been. And so if it's a little off kilter from what they think it should be, then automatically it's awful. And I don't think that it should be approached that way, especially when it's a very subjective thing. There's other things that can happen that you can clearly be like, no, this is stupid. I'll say we can bring it in, like Hulk Hogan. Okay. You can
you told me on the phone that we were not talking about this.
We have to at least, we're not going to
touch base on it. Yeah, we will not go into it.
But if I completely overlook it, people will be like, you didn't
Why did you talk about it?
You're totally this way. And no, I'm not. Okay. So I'll bring it up. Fuck Hulk Hogan. I'm on the Iron Sheik. Fuck the Hulk Hogan. That was stupid.
Yes.
I think almost everyone clearly you had an arena. I don't care where it was. You had an arena full of people.
I almost stopped watching.
There were a few, though. There were a lot of people that I think,
I heard rumors of it, but once I heard the music, I was like, why are we doing this?
I went and, every single reaction streamer, I look at everybody else's because I'm always so curious. Every last one of us was just,
it's that same face of like, what the hell?
I think mine, the second that it started, I went,
yep.
And I just hear Pat McAfee in the back flipping shit. And then when he realized, silence.
Yeah. Side note, if Pat McAfee is silenced, there is something very wrong. Okay. And that's nothing against Pat. Don't punish him. Don't punish Pat.
So the main things that I saw people talking about were how, and I even said it while I was live too. I was confused, but I'm a wrestling fan that watches.
Oh, if it's what I think you're talking about, I'm ready.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm a wrestling fan that watches every single week. So The Rock comes out and The Rock is shaking hands and kissing babies. And the last time I saw The Rock, he wasn't being like a total dick, but he was throwing F-bombs and he was the final boss. And he was, he was
saying Mama Rhodes 32 times into the camera.
Yeah. And he would, he's going up to Cody Rhodes and he's hugging Cody Rhodes and they're embracing and, I get it. I'm in my wrestling mind. I'm like, wait. What are you doing? What are you doing? Huh? Like, are we throwing things away?
Like we timeline skipped, like something is wrong.
Yeah. Like we completely ignored something. But I don't remember who it was. I can't even give them credit. And that thought that they posted kind of made me be like, okay, the more than I started to think about it. So the way that they approached this entire show was with the thought process of it's the first episode and you have all of your regulars already watching that are not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
They're showing it to a whole new lot of people that are giving it a shot that maybe haven't gotten to watch it in a long time.
Yeah.
And they're going to be so confused if The Rock comes out.
Yeah.
And he starts being
bombing, whatever,
the final boss towards Cody Rhodes because they don't know what happened. They were not there for the build or the story or anything. They're going to be very confused when The Rock Dwayne is normally out there shaking hands and kissing babies.
They were definitely.
We had a 3-hour show and there were only 4 wrestling matches. Again, you're showing this to a whole new group of people and new people to professional wrestling, even if they're lapsed fans. Yeah. They don't give a shit about a wrestling match if they are not first hooked and invested in the story of that wrestling match. Right. They were not there for the buildup of any of those matches that occurred. No. So the ones that they gave them, I feel like were good and also very easy to kind of look back real quick and find the history of them. The Undertaker showing up when he showed up. Okay, I understand. Like, sure, random timing. Don't know when else they would have done it. Rhea didn't seem to mind. It was absolutely intentional to have the Undertaker come out with the motorcycle playing American Badass because that was not only like his favorite freaking gimmick, but when the most people that are lapsed fans were watching, that would probably be willing to give it a shot now. So it's throwing like a bone to lapsed fans.
I do understand it, and you're explaining it like literally perfect. My small little baby opinion.
No, tell me.
I feel like, yes, like to your point, like they can't have, Final Boss coming out. They can't do certain things. I don't think that there would have been anything wrong with it kind of being like a homage show. And that's what they were doing. Yeah. I just don't think that, God, dude, like everyone has been waiting for Rhea to get the title back. Like it's been so many freaking days. And like, it was such a good buildup between Dom, between Liv, between her, and then once I heard the bell or the gong or whatever the hell, it's like, why are we doing this? I get it. Cool. We're bringing legends out. That's why Rock came out. That's why he's not heel right now. That's why even Hogan came out. I get that. I respect it wholeheartedly.
You understand it, but you don't.
I understand it. But why did we have Taker come out right when she won the damn title? I just wanted her to have her moment.
I would love to be a fly on the wall and know what the thought process was, because it didn't need to. No, I'm with you there.
No,
that's totally fine.
I just, as a fan, would have loved the homage, like spotlights or whatever creatively they wanted to do with that, instead of we're kind of like interjecting it with like our stories that we have now that have already been built up so much. Like for continuity's sake, I don't work there. That's just my opinion.
No, it's a good one. It's a good one, because it totally could have been two separate moments. It did not need to be. And he didn't even say anything. I mean, he just came down, did a lap in the motorcycle.
He said nothing.
And said nothing, and just came up on the ramp with Rhea, and they both did like over the shoulder to the camera. And
yes, like I was like, oh, okay.
But she made it sound like in the press conference that feud is done, that she's moving on.
Yeah.
So I don't know where Liv is going from there, but they had a hell of an amazing feud.
So good.
Killed it. It was awesome.
So good. The match at SummerSlam was just fantastic.
Oh my God. It was
just so good. I definitely will come back to like this match, but I have to give you your flowers while I'm on this, like with you. Just being your friend and seeing you in your element and just seeing you on the floor at SummerSlam. It was a very proud friend moment. I have a photo of like a selfie or like even a video. It's a video. Sorry. It's a video of me recording me and you're on the background. And I'm like, oh my God, there she is. There she is. Look at her. Look at her on the floor, like doing her thing. Like just,
I was making content.
Yes, you were making content, but like that, like moment to see you there, just reporting as quickly as you could, still trying to give your community everything that you could while you're at the event, like was just so amazing to see. I'm just so proud of you. That to me is like in my Rushmore of moments, because this is so amazing. Look at her go. Like just, yeah. Yep. I loved it. Oh my God. Are you kidding me? I adore you.
That's so sweet. It was a once in a lifetime opportunity. And I had said, like, I really wanted to be present for it. I really wanted to be in it, because I didn't know if it was ever going to happen again. I didn't know if it was ever going to happen again, that I'd be in that position and be on the floor and be able to be watching the ring from the perspective that I was. I didn't know. I don't know. If it was not for the people that watch my streams or interact with my videos or follow me or have said all the nice things that they have, I wouldn't have been there. Yeah. Like the only reason I was there was because of the internet and the people that got me seen. That's it. And so I still was like, well, I'm here. If I go home and I don't have anything, I was like, it's ingrained in my soul now to just do it. Yeah. But I did miss, because I was so into it, I did miss recording myself when Dominic and Liv kissed on the ramp. I did not record that part. And my community was like, what, you missed that? You missed that? And I was like, it was the first thing that I missed, and I didn't miss anything else.
I'm just saying it. I'm not telling anyone that this is what they have to do. But I think there is some guilt that comes with being a content creator when you either like miss a stream, or if you can't do something, or if you can't fully be there. And so you happened to miss the kiss between Dom and Liv. I get it. I get people, people just, I feel like they were excited for that moment, and they, kind of portray it to you in like a way of, well, you missed it. And it's like, no, it's not that I missed it. It's just, I missed it where we can share it together. Yeah, and I'm sorry that happened.
I did not miss it.
You didn't miss it. I saw you watch it. I watched it, you were like 5 rows behind me. I know you freaking saw it, you know?
I sure did.
But I really hope that even with that, like, and not that everyone's going to understand this, you're still, you know, you're still going to get comments about fake tan. You're still going to get comments, right? It's never going to go away. You're still going to get comments of you missed X, Y, and Z. But I really hope, just as your friend, seeing you on social media, and everyone that, you know, enjoys your content, but still feels the need to comment. I hope you guys understand that I feel like a big, like, tone that we have had this whole conversation is just being human. And that even if, you know, Wheezy didn't catch it on camera, wasn't able to share it with you guys. No, maybe it's not posted on her story. Maybe it's not a TikTok that was posted. Maybe it's not a reel, but you are still going to have the pleasure, and she is too, of sharing that moment with you guys. Maybe it's after the fact, and maybe it's not always going to be in the now. And I'm, again, just defending you so profusely, or anyone rather, because just because it's not in the moment doesn't mean it's not going to happen later. Of course, there's more excitement in the moment. Of course, you know, we have FOMO with it, and you want to look to the person that you favor for that, but it's just not always going to happen. That doesn't mean that the moment is ruined, though. I remember going back to you, and you were like, you were not upset, but you were like, I saw the guilt in the moment. Like, I saw like oh my God, I forgot this.
Yeah.
And that's where I was like, oh my God, like, yes, as a content creator, that's hard, but it's like, how do you explain that to a community?
I will not, and I refuse to give up my sanity or my well-being to be on it all the time. Like, I'm human and I'm going to make mistakes. I don't have a team of people making things happen for me. I am me, and I have a guy in Canada that's my editor sometimes. You know, I don't have a team of people. I'm not the WWE. I'm not, you know, a full-time creator I'm not a Logan Paul. You know, I don't have a camera guy or all that stuff. So
is that all that bad if you're not Logan Paul, though?
No, not one bit. I might look like him, but no, I'm not. I have been singing the song for years before I even started content creating, that I never wanted to live my life behind a lens. So if you ever go to like a concert with me or anything, even vacations, I've always been really ass about taking photos. Because I don't like to I don't want to watch a performance through my phone. I really don't. I want to be present for it. I love live music. I love live performances. So it was really hard for me to level with, it's okay to do it. It's okay to do it sometimes. I'm not going to be sitting there the entire show, you know, watching behind my phone. There's just going to be certain things that I want to get, and then I can be done. So kind of leveling with the two layers of who I am. Like, Alexis is the person that does not want to live her life behind the lens. And then now there's Wheezy, who now has this awesome platform that sometimes she just kind of has to compromise and do it anyway. And I'm not going to be perfect. So
no. I got you. That setup from SummerSlam was so good. Like, just so good. So that's like, just to bring it back to what we were talking about earlier from last night, like, I think that's why it like hurt different when I saw Taker come out, and I'm like, we waited so long. We waited months for this. Like, come on, bruh. Like,
moment. And now oh, you know what? I have a complaint. I have one.
All right, give it to me.
Okay. Why? Because I live in the United States.
Okay.
Why do I have to watch ads and miss actual promos and interviews ringside? So I'd get shown like a freaking, I don't know, a butter commercial. I don't know what the commercials were.
Sure.
A commercial. And come to find out, I watched someone else's reaction video. And while I was watching a commercial, they get to watch Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley after she won the title.
Shut up.
On the steps with Jackie. Jackie was doing interviews on the steps with people after.
That's a valid complaint.
There was a whole thing where The Miz, because I said on stream, I was like, I can't believe I haven't seen The Miz. You're in LA. The Miz didn't
shut up.
No, they had segments with The Miz while I was watching ads. Why is
that's a very valid complaint.
Yeah. When I was on stream
at Netflix, what is going on Twitter kind of thing.
When I was on stream, people were really harping on the ads, and I try not to freak out over stupid shit. So I'm like, I'm used to ads, guys. It's fine. Like, whatever.
They're commercials now. They just have a different name.
Then I found out that, I have to watch the ads, but not everybody does. Like
Yeah.
if you're in any other country, you don't have to, or if you're just in a different region.
That's why you use VPN. Oh my God, girl.
Yeah, that's why I said I'm going to use a VPN.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah, I do think that's a valid ask, though. Like, it's not. I think it is. It is a valid ask. Like,
well, even on Netflix, because a couple of us were like talking about it. There is because I don't know shit about Netflix. I don't really watch
same.
on Netflix. So I've had the same subscription for I don't know how long. I don't know how much I pay.
Oh, but you have to up it.
There's a premium one, and with the premium one, you don't get live ads. It didn't matter.
Stop.
You still had to watch the ads. Yeah.
But what is the decision between that? Like, how is it not, it doesn't matter who got to see, the other interactions that you didn't. Like, what determined you having to see that ad? That's so odd.
That I don't know, but it just sounded like it was all over the board because there's multiple people from the US. Half didn't have to see it, and then half did. I don't know. I was a little salty though. I was a little salty because
when Netflix, we got a tweet to be like, yo,
I know.
I'll slip you a 20 for no ads.
I think I clipped it when it happened, but I was, I'm at the end of stream. I'm watching the press conference and I'm scrolling, and my Santi, one of his reaction clips came up, and it was Damien and Rhea with her with the title, like, up on the steps. And I
the Santi buff right there for sure.
I just was stopped in my tracks. Like, I turned my phone to the camera and I said, what the fuck is this? I was like, well, I didn't see this. Did I? Because my memory is also ass. I'm like, maybe we did. And half of the chat was like, oh no, we saw that. And then the other half was like, no,
whoever was watching with you didn't see it. Yeah.
Listen with my views. Come on now. Other people that all of them are Canadian.
Wait a second. Well, pause. So everyone that was Canadian didn't see, like, they got to see Miz and they got to see Rhea and they got to see Damien.
Yep, I didn't get to. Yeah. That is the one thing. That is the only thing after the fact actually upset me, because what is the rhyme or reason? I understand like contracts and stuff like that, but dude,
I didn't see that either. Oh my God, I didn't see it.
There were a ton. There's got to be like 6 to 8.
I didn't hit until, because I'm here like thinking about you. Oh my God, dude, stop.
Yeah, I missed out on so many.
Watch on a VPN too. Yo, ExpressVPN. Oh my God, Wheezy.
Sponsor.
Listen. It's not all bad. Oh my God, you tell me if you want to keep this going, or if you want to wrap it short soon. But I have to, before we go, like I mentioned earlier, like Mount Rushmores of like just wrestling moments, like just in public or just like in the realm of like what you're doing. Like, I have to ask you, like, what is like your Mount Rushmore of like just you being in this so deep, like whether it's like while you were streaming or at a convention or at a press event or at a live show. Like, I need to know, because like, yes, we're a fan of wrestling, but I'm such a fan of you. Like, I have to know, like, what,
like things I've done or gotten to do.
Yeah, like what is really resonating, like, with you?
Oh gosh, there's so many. So
sure,
my immediate ones are. I immediately go to getting to. You were with me when I got to go backstage at WWE and interview really quickly, however many people I did.
I had to apologize to you for being such a shit camera woman. I'm so sorry.
You know what? It was
better. I
swear. It was my fault. Okay.
Okay. It's not, but still, it's fine.
No. So it's this camera. This is the camera right here. This camera right here.
What's up, you little bitch? Oh my God. That little thing had me terrified the whole night. Cause I was like, I cannot, because in my mind, I was like, okay, you can go for those who have seen it, and for you, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, in my mind, I was like, with all of these people, of all people to do it with, it had to happen with the Miz.
It worked. It worked fine though, content wise. I mean,
it was a great promo
for me. It worked well for me.
It was a great promo.
I am now so much more well-versed in cameras. That was my first time ever taking this thing anywhere to use it. So I had not messed with any settings.
And you didn't tell me.
No, I didn't want to tell you that. The stabilization was not on. Like shape, so whatever it is, the motion. Yeah. it wasn't on. I found that out this weekend when I went to Detroit.
Okay, so that makes me feel better. So
and then
you did not set me up for a failure.
I didn't, not intentionally.
No.
Not intentionally.
Also, I was excited, but more so nervous specifically because in my mind, I was like, oh my God, don't fuck this up. Don't fuck this up for just your friend, for her content, for nothing, like, all the above. And then that happened. I was just shaking in my boots the whole time.
But it was our first time. I found out I was doing that like 3 days before we went. It was I had 3 days notice. I felt so if whoever got me there is watching this, I'm so sorry. I felt
me too.
Like I felt prepared, but I also felt unprepared. And it's one thing to be prepared and then get there and be like, oh wait, and then question yourself. And you can only be told, oh, don't be nervous so many times before you like, but I'm nervous. Like
yeah. I think it would and we have talked about this. We will definitely not touch about it here. However, if you're not nervous to an extent, if you're not like excitedly nervous or like professional nervous, there is something very wrong.
Something very wrong. And that was my first time in that kind of situation at all.
Yes.
That's only one. That's only one situation I've been in. Number 2. Oh my gosh. Things. Being featured on Monday Night Raw, on SmackDown. And then I was also in one of the Rock's reels for WrestleMania kickoff show. That was cool. Cause that was my first realization. I think I even said it in the clip. That was my first realization that anyone in the wrestling world even knows what it is we do or that we exist. Because at that point it was just something I did.
Yeah.
So when they took all of our clips and made something like that, that was insane. And also, it wasn't necessarily in my feelings, but the first one that they featured was when CM Punk returned. That's when it first happened. Yeah. And I got so much shit for the way that I reacted when CM Punk returned because I wasn't screaming. And that's okay if that was your reaction. I understand. Like, that's fine. But because I was not screaming and super dramatic or performative, I got a lot of shit. And
but had you done that, I feel like, and I'm going to just be very blatantly honest. I feel like as a woman, you would have gotten more shit.
Yeah.
I really do.
Oh,
I really do.
For sure. Because everyone did to an extent. But I was more in like stunned shock. And everyone else was screaming and doing whatever they were doing. And that's...
Yeah, especially with everything going on then. Yeah. I think that was a valid reaction.
Yeah.
Being in shock was a very valid reaction.
Oh, well, we all knew that was going to happen. You never actually know until
you don't. You don't know what happens contractually, what happens like behind the scenes. You don't. Like, of course, even now, like us, this is all matter of opinion, but you don't. You genuinely do not know.
Nope.
At all. What's like number 1? Like, what's Mecca?
What did I give? I give 2. So 3. Yeah, 3 is me at SummerSlam, just getting to go to SummerSlam, experience it. That was my first big PLE. It was my first open stadium PLE. I got to be on the floor. And there were a bunch of people that knew who I was that wanted to come up and talk to me and like take pictures. And that was really like cool and validating. There was someone that had a Wheezy sign that I ended up finding.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
That was cool. And also when I was there, so like when I was on the floor, a lot of the people that were working around that were taking, like photos and videos as the show was happening to post on social media, the amount of them and in the press room afterwards that just said, hey, I really like the validation of, hey, I really like what you do. Like you put out really fun stuff, like keep it up.
Yeah, you do.
That kind of validation was really, really nice. And I needed it at that point. So
I don't think like as your friend, seeing the amount of people that come up to you anywhere and recognize you and want a photo with you, like that will never get old. Because that was at SummerSlam. It's happened at what's it called? At Squared Circle. It's happened at the latest show that we went to together.
The Raw.
The Raw in Michigan. That was that will never get old. That is so dope to see. So yeah.
I'm just the girl. I don't think
You're that girl though, dude.
I don't think I'll ever get used to it.
And you know what? That's what makes you awesome. Is because you still have the humility behind it. And I think that's important, especially in this space, especially.
I'm proud of it. those were big things I went and did. I really did enjoy going and being on the wrestling panel this year at TwitchCon.
Yeah.
That was a really cool thing, and getting to experience that and be around fellow creators and meet people. That I'll say that could be my number 4. There's just so many runner-ups, but that's my 4.
Yeah. I think to piggyback off that, like, what has been your biggest like moment streaming, in your opinion? Even if it's like not number 1, like what like jumps in your mind, it is like the first one that you think of. And will we see you at TwitchCon again this year?
Well, you'll definitely see me at TwitchCon again. You definitely see me at TwitchCon again this year. I enjoyed TwitchCon. It's so much fun. And I like San Diego.
Yeah.
But gosh,
it should never be in Vegas again, for the record.
No,
never, ever.
God, no, it's awful. Don't ever do that.
It's too expensive. Just
terrible.
Twitch gods, please never do that again.
No. And I think they learned, because I think it's supposed to be in San Diego like the next 5 years.
Amazing.
They learned we cannot do that because it was ass. God, streaming wise, what would it be? Because I think of moments where important things happened, or important raids, or things like that. Like those are the things that come to mind. So I do.
What was like your biggest pop? Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're fine. My biggest pop,
like you personally.
The Rock returning for the first time. I think that was at day 1. Like The Rock returning then. That was my biggest, because I don't believe I really expected it. I think I had heard rumblings, and that's the thing, is now you hear every PLE every week, people are like, oh, so-and-so is going to show up. It's going to be a surprise. It's going to be a surprise. So I live in this mindset of, yeah, whatever.
Like,
and then he was there, like his music hit, and I couldn't help but I think I partially screamed, and I don't get too animated, but that was cool, because, and then that led up to everything. Also, anytime, one of the first times that I saw, and it was a Rock moment too. I thought it was the first of the year, but it wasn't. It was in September of that year. The Rock wasn't supposed to be there, but he was. And there was a Wheezy Blonde sign, a big, big pink one, front and center. And that Pat McAfee was in the ring first, and I saw it. And then Austin Theory, and then The Rock. And they finally, production came and took it from him. But it was there. Yeah, it was like, that was pretty cool. And that also, because of that, I just remember at that time, I was still watching my viewership. I don't anymore, but at that time, I don't. I kept watching the viewership tick up and up and up, and people like rolling in as they were seeing that my sign was there, or if they were just Googling it, that was pretty surreal and crazy.
Do you know the fan that had the sign?
I do, because they emailed me beforehand. Like, they emailed me pictures of them with the sign. It was a father and son and the little boy. They made it. Mm-hmm. And they were gonna send it to me, but then production took it and they didn't give it back. So, but
Oh, so the WWE owns that sign now.
Oh yeah, that got thrown in the trash. And that was before CM Punk, me being featured on Raw. That was the early introduction to what the fuck is a Wheezy Blonde.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. So Pika, can you tell us where we can find you? Like, what do you do? Do you stream? Where's your platform? What's your niche? What do you like to do? What can we see?
So besides conventions, I do love many things besides John Cena and Taylor Swift, even though those are, at the top. I do love to stream. I do love to game. I game many different things. Right now I'm hellbent on FPSs and Marvel Rivals and Valorant and stuff like that. But yeah, you can find me at twitch.tv/PetitePikahh. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok. If TikTok doesn't die anytime soon. But you can still find me there. I'm on Twitter, not Twitter, whatever it is. But mainly I use Instagram, TikTok, and Twitch for sure. So,
well, thanks for hanging out with me tonight and talking with me. I don't bring people on too often just because I feel like I'm so unreliable that like it's just better to just focus on myself and not have to like be on time for other people.
That's a valid concern, but don't hold it against yourself. But I am so thankful you asked me. I know some people wanted to see it, but more so like if any opportunity comes up where I can just yap with you about anything, like wrestling, whatever it is, like giving you your flowers, talking about whatever, being so ADHD and crazy and, or hair or whatever. But the fact that we got to talk about all this is so great.
Absolutely. This is why we get along, like both certified yappers. It's okay.
Yep. I'm here for it.
I hope you enjoyed my talk with Pika. I don't get to have deep conversations like that with other people, especially with other women that are in the space or that I have anything in common with. So I really enjoyed that. I hope you guys did. As will be custom, I think at the end of every episode that I do here, I ask you on X, sometimes Instagram, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. I never know how to say that. But I do ask you specific questions for a Q&A that I can answer at the end of the show. And I did ask you on X this week what your thoughts were or what questions you had for me about the debut of Raw on Netflix. Conman167. Conman167, he asks, how psyched are you for 3 hours of Raw every single week? I think I made it pretty apparent. I wasn't super stoked on adding another hour again. If the episodes are engaging, it's whatever. I don't feel super strongly about it one way or the other. I think Triple H had said when it comes to Raw, the sweet spot for him would be around 2.5 hours, but there's no specific set time per week that they need to be done. Regardless, I have to watch, so I'll be there no matter if it's 3 or 4 hours. At Wrestling Wasabi asks, do you think CM Punk has a legitimate chance at a title in WWE? Absolutely. I think anybody has a legitimate chance depending on where they go from here and what title feuds he has. I don't know if the question is based on the fact that there are a lot of people in contention. You know, we do have John Cena in the run for his retirement tour or whatever. We have Roman Reigns, who doesn't currently have a title. You have Solo Sikoa. You have The Rock. You know, there's a lot of possibilities that we could see. God, Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins. There's a lot of people that deserve it and are in contention. But of all the people right now, CM Punk really has the hearts of the people. I'm one of them. So it's definitely a chance. And I don't know when, I don't know how, and I don't know what title. But absolutely. At _11 Kalista asks, do you trust The Rock after what happened tonight, or do you think something is going to happen in the near future? Talked about it multiple times at the beginning and middle of the episode, but The Rock's presentation was done purposefully. I understand it, but I do think they're going to use it to The Rock's advantage. It's going to be a swerve. It's that, like I said, that switch is going to flip. That switch is going to flip, and the final boss is going to come back, and he is going to raise hell with anyone that gets in his way. I really do think that. So we'll see when. I don't know when to expect him back. At Robski696 asks, do you believe the first Raw on Netflix delivered on the huge hype it promised, or did it underachieve? I try not to fall into the mindset of trusting hype or believing hype, because who's really creating the hype? Is it the hype that the WWE presented, or is it the hype that the fans are expecting? Because we do this thing where we are expecting returns. We're expecting this person to interfere. And I have said that seems to be a common theme. God, at the every PLE. Every PLE, we're like, oh, who's going to show up? Like, we're expecting an interference. And I swear, every single time it doesn't happen. I think for the debut on Netflix, I'd heard Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch. No, but nobody. And it didn't need it. It didn't need it. So sometimes I think we are disappointed at our own expectations not being met. The ones that we set for ourselves. And I still think it promised. It felt important. I liked it. I liked the way it happened, but I'm also not overly critical. So what do I know? At NicheNet2000 asks, do you think more people will get VPN? I still think it's crazy that the US is getting ads and the rest of the world isn't. Plus, they are getting extra content. I think I left it in this episode where I talk about that. That was the one thing that was the one complaint that I have. And I understand contracts. I understand the way things have to happen. But I was pretty irritated to find out that while I'm watching ads, other people around the world are getting to watch additional content that I don't get to see in real time solely because I live in the US. I feel like there should be an option to pay out of that. Like, can I is there a premium subscription for Netflix that's not adhering to that? I would love to know the answer, because yeah, I would have liked to have seen The Miz. I would have liked to have seen a lot of the ringside interviews, and I didn't get to do that. At Already Tired asks, am I the only one who feels disappointed about the Raw debut? Don't get me wrong, it was good and felt like the normal episodes of Raw, but it didn't reach the expectations that we thought. Do you feel the same? No, I don't feel the same. I think it was pretty on par. It felt important. It definitely had a different production, a different feel than the rest of the Raws. And I think it's smart to not make it so above and beyond what regular Monday Night Raws are, because Monday Night Raw is a great program. They've been doing a wonderful job with what they've been given the last however many months. Like, it's a good program. You don't really need to make it additionally crazy or anything like that. Because then what I think would happen is you have that high expectation set for the debut, and then what will happen next week is that everyone will be like, oh, this is falling flat. This isn't as good as last week. I know how the minds of the IWC works. So I think it was a good call. At Nishi Has Landed asks, if you were the booker, what would you do to the Judgment Day? Do you think they should split into two different factions? I do. And I had a couple ideas, and I don't fantasy book like literally ever, but this was the one that I was considering and thinking about. And it changed after Monday. So we saw Dominic get in the ring after Rhea won her title back from Liv and try to, I don't know, apologize or get back in her good graces. He's a champ chaser, either one. And I could see next week Liv calling him out for that and maybe siding more with Finn Balor. I'm trying to think of the logistics of how that would work, but I don't know, because I wasn't seeing Liv going for Finn Balor in any capacity, but maybe I would now if she wants to get back at Dominic in a specific way, like if she's mad at him for doing that and what that would do, or if that would just cast out. I'm thinking in real time here. What if that just casts out Dominic and that makes Dominic out on his own, which I feel should happen. I do think that Dominic should not be a part of the Judgment Day anymore. I think he needs to move on to do some better things that I think he could do. At Bossman asks, is the new ref shirts good or bad? I think they're good. I like the way that they look. My only thing, and it's not a huge deal, I feel it's a little monochromatic with the mat, because the mat is darker and the shirts are darker, and it's just the artist eye thing with me. It's really not that big of a deal, but I like the design of the shirts. It's cool to see something different. At lovers_club asks, how did you feel about Taker, Hogan, and Logan Paul being a part of the first Raw on Netflix? I don't feel a specific kind of way. I keep myself out of what everyone else tends to do sometimes on social media. It's not my platform. I'm here to talk wrestling. I'm not here to tell you anything about my life or whatever. And I don't really participate in those kinds of conversations anyway. And if that means that I'm putting on blinders, it means I'm putting on blinders. What I don't want to gloss over those kinds of things, but I also just don't know. I'm not educated, and I try to educate myself, but I just don't. I don't like when people are shitty human beings. I can tell you that much. I won't give you specifics on what makes someone a shitty human being. I'm going to keep you guessing. But I usually, for the most part, am capable of distinguishing between a character and a person, depending on how severely shitty of a person somebody is. I also think it's very important to acknowledge your mistakes, acknowledge things that you've said that are wrong, and to educate yourself in those kinds of instances, or at least explain yourself. That's really all I can say. At Fabian Sanchez 25 asks, what do you make of them not showing the title holders with the title? I thought it was weird not having them with the titles or even promoting them as champions when they were in the crowd. I clocked that too, because I noticed Tiffy. I think I even asked on stream, because they showed Tiffy in the crowd, and I just asked, where's your title? Like, you just won the title. Where's the title? I would honestly just be curious to know what the thought process was behind that and why they wouldn't, or if maybe possibly we're getting new title designs. I think maybe that might be part of the reason. we'll see what happens next week. At Mothman Tactical asked, 4 matches in 3 hours. Was that a mistake? I do not think it was a mistake. I don't think it was a mistake. Again, I don't want to be a broken record. I've said it a few times throughout the episode, but if for some reason you just skipped here, I will reiterate. You had the potential of gaining a lot of new viewers, and people are going to turn off a match that they're not invested in. You gotta understand what you're doing with the debut episode on a platform like Netflix, where people are just gonna give something a shot. So no, I don't hate it. I understand why wrestling fans would. I get it. It's a common complaint. Not enough wrestling on the wrestling show. If there was any time for there to not be too much wrestling on the wrestling show, a debut on Netflix was it. At Zonlo_John11 asks, what are your thoughts on SmackDown going back to 2 hours eventually? Good. Good. I don't want SmackDown on Friday. I don't want SmackDown on Friday. I want SmackDown back on a Tuesday or a Thursday. I don't care if that means NXT has to go back to Wednesday. I don't like SmackDown on Friday. Am I gonna suck it up and watch it? Yeah, because what else am I gonna do? But 3 hours on a Friday night is too much for me. I don't want to do it. It makes me question streaming. At MonsDavid20 asks, did Taker need to come out and put Rhea over, or was it more so passing the title of badass down to her? I hadn't thought about it in that way, of him passing down the badass title to her. It didn't need to happen that way. I think I talked with Pika. I don't hate it. I understand why people would. I'd be curious how she feels about it. But yeah. At HygorBH asks, do you think Netflix will legit give WWE more fans as they stumble upon WWE while browsing Netflix? I do. It's something different that a lot of people wouldn't otherwise give a chance. And I think Netflix is really good for that. If Netflix is one of the only streaming platforms that you also have, a lot of people just pick something to binge it, and that's how you find TV programs. If there's any platform that the general public is willing to just give a shot to something new, it's Netflix. And if you don't like it, you stop watching it. So I think there will be some people that stick around and find out that they like it, especially some people that maybe watched when they were younger or that are lapsed fans. I think it will hang on to some people. I don't know that it's going to be a majorly significant amount, but it's really, really hard to tell. I mean, who would have thought that wrestling would have had the surge that it did in the late 90s, early 2000s? I mean, if you can recreate that, and it almost feels like in a way we could. And I think that just comes along with people wanting to have a different form of entertainment or being interested in things that are different, because you get tired of the same old stuff. At Declan Bentley 90 asks, do you think it was the correct decision to have Rhea win? Because I think it was the wrong choice. I don't think Liv got a proper title run because she was really only feuding with Rhea. I don't think that there is a right, wrong, correct answer to this question. It's definitely the subjectiveness of wrestling, of how you feel about it. I am okay with Rhea winning. I'm very curious where they go from here. I'm curious if we do get a return at some point in the next few weeks for her to feud with somebody else, because Rhea made it sound like at the press conferences she's done feuding with Liv. I think Liv carried herself so well and did so great in this title run that it's only going to help her moving forward. You know, you don't need a title to be great. You don't need to be in a title picture to really show your greatness. And now with the story that Liv has built and how she's been set up for the future, I really think that the sky is the limit. And it doesn't mean that a title picture can't come back around for her. Another reason I say that there's no right answer is because you have people that are saying it was too long of a run, that they were bored of it. Like if Liv had won, I think you would have had more people mad that this was continuing and that they just wanted to be done with it. Like, you're never going to please anybody. So it's, yeah. Make sure that you're following me both on Instagram and X to submit the questions when I ask. I usually do it like the day before I'm going to record or a couple days before. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. It's probably a little longer than I've ever done before, but let me know what you felt about Monday Night Raw debut. I've seen a lot of things, but I would love to see more. Take care, guys.